Welcome back to Cherry Picking. In today's video, we're continuing on the 72 Ford Highboy and finally taking it off-roading. That's right, welcome back to Cherry Picking. In today's video, we're continuing work on the 1972 Ford Highboy. In the past few videos, you saw me take this truck, get it running for the first time in 15 years, pull it out of its grave, and, well, the new owner took it, drove it 250 miles round trip, brought it back here, and we've continued to work on it and actually make it look nice. You saw me paint the engine and start to assemble it back together. Well, in today's video, we're going to continue putting the final touches on the engine bay area, as well as making this thing a little bit better and a little bit nicer. This thing is going to undergo a huge transformation by the end of the video, so stay tuned as we turn it from the old, ratty old farm truck that it is into a sweet patina driver. So let's get into it. So in the last video, we basically tidied up the engine bay, got it all nice and painted. I routed all of the heater hoses and everything later on. So we do have the heater hoses done. The radiator I painted, so I took it out and painted it so it's a little bit nicer, especially on top here. It looks pretty nice. Kind of ties the whole engine bay together. But what we're doing right now, before I move on to changing out the brake stuff, new master cylinder and new booster so that it looks a little bit nicer, we actually do have to tap out the old temp sender. Because this was an earlier intake, it has a small 1/4 inch pipe thread sender, and all of the later ones are 3/8, so we're gonna drill and tap it, but we gotta tap that and do it, and then we can finally put water or coolant inside this guy and run it for a long time and actually get it back up to heat to bake in some of this paint. So we're gonna knock that out, and then we're gonna change out the brake parts, and then we're pretty much done under the hood, and we will move on to everything else. All right, so what we're looking at now is we've actually got the engine bay pretty much tidied up, actually. We've got everything back together. I've got the fan shroud back in, and then I've also got the new brake master cylinder and brake booster, as well as a new hose line ran. It looks very nice and clean in here, but we're pretty much filling it with coolant right now, and then we're gonna start it up and run some heat cycles in it and hopefully get it to burp a little bit and then time it. And in the meantime, my dad was resoldering, adding a jumper wire to put in an F600 dash. In the dash, there's a time lapse of him redoing all the wires. And he basically just took the original harness, because these later 70, 71, 72 trucks use the printed circuit board, whereas the 69 and older, or 70 and older, one of those years, uses the hard plugs. And so he basically just took a jumper from another truck harness and made it so that you could run either or, and you just tape off whichever hookup that you're not using at that time. So if he ever wants to revert back to a stock dash, he can. Okay, so this thing is basically full of water. I had to go get 2 more gallons of some distilled water just to finish it up, but we are at the point now where it is full of coolant and water, and everything is hooked up. I believe everything is tightened down coolant wise. Everything's back together, so there's nothing to do but try to run it. So we hooked up the battery. We're gonna go switch on the key, let it start running, and we'll get it timed too, because actually it's not timed. I've timed it at 0 plus some, so no idea where it's at. Obviously it starts up and idles fine, but we'll probably get it timed a lot closer. These tend to like 8 to 10 degrees before top dead center stock. You could go a little bit more if you really wanted it to, but then it has troubles hot starting. But stock 8 to 10, perfectly good, 12 even. They run pretty good. So let's start this thing up. We'll get our good old school Sears Penske timing light. You don't need a fancy timing light, folks. You just need one that blinks at you. Because in reality, you just need to know where 0 is. All right, this goes on the number 1, gentlemen. Right there. Red for negative, black for positive for some reason on this truck. Let's start her up. Turn signal is on. That's hooked up. All right. I'm going to time it. Yeah, it's definitely right at 0. Ooh! All right, that should be around 10, I believe, is where the line was marked. Well, that's a lot better. Sounds much better on all 8. Pretty quiet too. It's not clattering and I can talk to you without screaming. So that's a win. Yeah, it's basically right on 10, I think, is where that was. Well, we gotta let this thing cook up and bake the paint, basically. And some of it will bake off, it's just how it goes. But we gotta get some heat cycles in it. What the hell?
Yeah.
That's not good. Yeah, it was like all of a sudden it was just a plume of smoke.
Wire right there. Oop. Turn that.
What is it arcing on? It was arcing on.
It was arcing in the harness here.
Oh, because it melted everything?
Yeah.
Careful. What the hell? How does that even happen?
Well, that's whatever caused the alternator wiring to burn off the back of the alternator. Get the pleasure of fixing that.
That's a plug-in harness, right? Like it just unplugs from here?
I don't think so, does it?
Yeah, it's, well, oh, well that would be why probably.
Why?
Well, it's tied into whatever the f this white wire is. Look at this, whatever this is. Does it go through it?
Oh yeah, okay.
Well, folks, doesn't always go to plan. I was just sitting here letting it idle, and I thought, oh, I'll just rev it up again. You know, I'd already done it a bunch, and guess this was one time too many, because all of a sudden, plume of smoke from right here. And initially, I thought it was coolant smoke, but it smelled funny. And nope, wires completely melted themselves and burned off all the insulation. So we'll show you in just a second.
Oh, this is crazy. So you're gonna have to
unhook from the alternator.
Take the alternator off again for the 35th time.
Well, it's the next day, and it's actually the last day before the owner of this truck comes back. And as you saw just a second ago, the alternator wiring decided to take a crap and completely melted. Now we are going to fix that, but that's going to take a little bit of time. We're going to splice some wires and fix the harness because I don't have any extra harnesses that I can just throw on. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and tackle a bunch of the other little things that need to happen to get this truck closer to where it needs to be, since we pretty much have today and tomorrow morning, really, to finish this truck up. So let's go over a few of those things. Now, one of the first things we're going to do is try to fix the heater bellows. The heater in this truck actually works and doesn't leak, surprisingly, at least not yet. But it's missing the rubber bellow gasket that connects the cowl air to the heater core to actually blow air through, and so you kind of just get cold air coming in. So we're going to try to slide this guy in without taking it apart. Now that's going to be really hard. I may fail, but we're going to try. So that's the first thing. We've also got new dome light switches because the ones in the truck are completely missing. The brackets and the wiring are there, but the switches themselves are just gone. So we're going to plug these in. That's a quick, easy thing. We're all about quick, easy wins. One of the other things is we're going to install a factory correct windshield washer bottle. So this is actually going to replace the one that's in there that doesn't look as nice and isn't technically a factory one. So I actually have to re-splice in an original connector because the one that somebody else put in, they cut the connector and just put 2 spliced wires in. So we're going to put the correct one back on, hook this up, and redo all of the washer lines. There's a whole bunch of them. But to finish off the windshield washer, we're actually also going to add some new wiper blades. These are just some correct wiper blades for the stock style Trico wipers. Here's some more of that hosing for the windshield washer. We've also got a pair of these guys. Now these are at the owner's discretion. He wanted these. He thought these would really help the look of the truck. We've got some vent shades for the windows. So these just go in place right on top of each of the windows on each side, and they allow you to crack the window a little bit when it's raining, or you just want a little bit of air but not roll down the whole window. That's what these are for. So these just they actually screw on, and we're gonna slap those guys on. We've also got some other stuff to spruce up the interior, and last but not least, the most important thing, a brand new reproduction horn button, because his is completely rotted off and he really wanted to tie in the look of this truck, and so this is really gonna make the difference. So we'll slap this guy on. Should be pretty fast because it's got it's got 2 screws and 2 connectors. So let's get started and put all this crap on. Get our prop rod in here. All right. So, washer bottle. How is this one connected? Now it just slides, and it's got a really beefy bracket. Come on in here. All right, now this was just put in by somebody. It's just this generic AutoZone or Radio Shack windshield wiper bottle. And it's just got a bracket that we can remove from the inner fender. It looks like it was actually using a stock bolt location, hopefully. And then I just got to go ahead and cut these 2 wires and splice the new connector on to the correct colors. Thankfully, they're easy to tell because one's black, one's lime green. And then we'll put the bottle on. All right, tighten up these bolts. I didn't even have to go pull them off anything because they were loose. Now, the other thing we've got to do is route all of these new hose, which are already pre-cut and pre-sized, to their new location. So this big thick one is going to be the one that goes up to the T, which it comes with a new T. So we're gonna plug this in, take this screw out. Yeah. Old T out, garbage. New T in carefully so that we don't break the plastic. Take off the old hose and put the new one. It's super simple. Hopefully it all just works. All right, next up we're gonna try to do the heater bellows because I don't have high hopes, but I'm gonna go ahead and move Rodney. Sorry, buddy. I'm gonna have to take you out carefully. Oh, probably should take my camera off his antler. Say hi, buddy. Please, help me. Help me, please. They kept me trapped in here for weeks. Help me. What a goober. Anyways, this is the not so fun part. Come on in here. So if we take a peek in here, you can see this is where the heater bellow gasket needs to go. And as you can see, not a lot of room. It's super tight. And actually some of the old gasket is still in here, so I'm gonna have to try to peel that out. I don't know if you can see it in there, but we're gonna try our best. I'm gonna try to use some soapy water and some other stuff, but I don't have high hopes for this, so this may not actually happen. Let's see what we can do. All right, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and try to take off the actual heater or cowl vent air intake because it's pretty easy and fully accessible. It should pop off. All right, got a putty knife. Kind of hoping I can get under it carefully. The foam gasket is very old. There we go. Come on, buddy. There it is. All right. Now, this should come out. Whew, and we get access in there. We can actually take all the leaves and stuff out of it. Now, the thing is, this heater bellows actually keeps all of the fresh air from the cowl from coming in because it forces it through the heater and then blocks it off. So without it, you just got a lot of fresh air coming in all the time. And then we'll go ahead and wash this guy too, clean them up, make them look nice and new. All right, let's see what we got in here, because it is full of just crap, and it is super full. Okay. Okay, can the old one come out? Okay. Oh yeah. All right, I got most of it. All right, now that we've got it out of there, now we just got to get it in the new one, which, as you can see, it's tight, but we got to squeeze it in there. Now, I'm going to be honest. I don't entirely remember the way to do this. Last time I did this, I took the whole heater core out. So, not entirely sure what the best way to do this is. But what I'm going to do is try to actually set it in with this guy. I think that's going to be my best case, because I don't think I can very easily get this in after. We'll see. We're going to try. I've got some soap here. I'm going to try to soap it up. We're just going to put some soap on this guy. I'll just rub it in and we'll wipe it off after, but we're going to need all the help we can get. Go up first. Maybe. How'd I get this out? Do you guys remember? I just did it about 2 minutes ago, or 5 minutes ago. Although it doesn't help with the fire extinguisher bracket. Alright. Got it in there, but now the fun part. Where we get this guy in there. Whew! Alright, got it. Just getting the backside was kind of rough. Now, like I said, I think there's some clips, but they're missing. Alright. Heater bellows done. I was kind of hoping that was going to be the hardest thing, so let's keep hoping it is. Well, let's keep moving on. Dome light switches and then the horn. Now, dome light switches are way down here. Now, the dome light switches, thankfully, are super easy because you basically, they just plug in with 2 pins. So we're just going to pull them through here, plug them in because it does not matter which way it goes. And then, boom, done. On to the other side. Now, one of the other things that this truck is missing, unfortunately, is the door springs themselves that kind of hold the doors open. If I had a set that I knew was good, I would put one on it, but I don't actually know if I have any good ones. So, it is what it is, and he will just have to, unfortunately, live with sloppy doors. This one actually has its clips still, which is surprising. They're really bad shape and probably will break off. But there we go. Dome light switches, taken care of. Let's change this horn out. Now this horn pad should be easy. His horn actually still works. Battery's not hooked up right now, but the contacts are actually still fine. It's just that the face is gone. So we have this nice new reproduction, I think it's a Dennis Carpenter reproduction face. There's 2 contacts, which I believe just click into place and connect on the spade terminals, and there's 2 screws on the back that hold it on, and that's really all there is to it. These are very easy, thankfully, but this one is just so old and broken and shattered that it's not really nice looking or usable anymore. But that's pretty much all that holds it in. Now this one's shattered into a million pieces, so I've got to take all this plastic out. There's a paper tag on it. Now the steering wheel itself is actually not in terrible shape. It's got a bunch of cracks, but the actual rim of the steering wheel is not too bad. There's only 1 spot on each side that have cracks. I've seen worse, but he wants to run it. It's a character of the truck. This is really simple. It's simple as that. It's already out. Now we can put our new one in, which will blow this out more. Okay. And then bada bing, bada boom. Horn pad goes in. And we're going to carefully fit it so it doesn't go weird. Put our screws back in. We'll get this taken care of, and then we'll have a nice new shiny horn. Alright, so it's been a little bit of time, and we actually went ahead and my father rebuilt the entire alternator wiring harness. Turns out what happened was the ground melted because I accidentally hooked it up to the stator, thinking it was the ground because I didn't see the STA. It was badly cast and oops. So it melted the ground wire, it sent 12 volts through it, but now it's together again. So it looks nice and new, as you can see right here. So it's actually better than it was, which, you know, plus, I guess. And we disconnected the old amp gauge wires because we're not going to be using any of those. That's actually all coming out. But everything's back together. We've got the washer bottle on. It looks nice. Looks pretty good under here. It's starting to take shape. And I haven't actually started the truck just yet, but we've been working on the dash gauges. We're rebuilding them right now, and I'll show you that. But we've got our we've got our horn, which works, very sensitive. So that's good. And I just noticed actually the dome light works. So now we have a working dome light. That's pretty sweet. So let's make sure it's in neutral and start it up. Oh. And it starts pretty much right up. There we go. We're back to where we were yesterday. So, time to keep moving forward. Let's see, let's get a little bit of... Clear it out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Oops, something fell. Anyways, we're, I gotta put a better, stronger spring on it because the carb return spring's just not strong enough. But it's looking pretty good. We're finally getting there. It's starting to get late. It's cold, it's windy, and it's kind of getting dark. Oh, I also did put these chrome window vents on. I'm gonna say not a huge fan of the fit and finish. They didn't fit super well. You can actually see some of that right there. Don't love them, but they went in and they work. So I guess you can't complain more than that. But we're gonna keep on keeping on this truck, and I'm gonna update you in just a second when we get the new F600 cluster put together and intact. And then we've got a bunch of wiring in the truck itself to take out, and we've got to rewire the switches for the cargo light and the fog lights, make sure they all have power. And we've got some other little things here and there, but we're making progress. So I'll see you in a second. Now, I realized I could keep working on the truck, or I can test it and drive it around for a second for the first time in like 2.5, 3 weeks. Since pretty much it came to this spot and took a rest. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and get the air cleaner on. Take out our prop rod. And finally, let's see if this thing can actually move and have some brakes. Now, Rodney's in the back for some moral support. Oh boy, and there's a lot of wiring just dangling. We'll ignore all that. Okay. Let's see if this thing moves for the first time in like 3 weeks. All right, brakes are automatically better. All right. Oh, gas is touchy. Definitely need to bleed the brakes, but yeah. Sounds pretty good. Smokes a little bit. All right, now let's keep going. Or maybe just a little bit more fun. The hell was that? Sometimes you just gotta quit while you're ahead. This is ridiculous. I just blew out that rubber plug. There it is, right there. Ah, and lost all that perfectly good coolant. Why must you fight me like this? You weren't even that hot. I'm starting to think this truck just hates me, to be honest. You know, I knew that freeze plug was not seated as well as it could have been, and I made a mental note earlier, hey, I should probably fix that. Well, it's later, and I didn't fix it. So, I guess now I get to fix it. Well, that's a major bummer, but kind of tired of this truck treating me like this, you know, even though it's my fault, and I've caused all of my own issues, and I'm the problem and the source to all my own problems. But I'm going to do something that makes me happy right now, because I'm not happy, so let's make ourselves happy. There. That makes me happy. Now this engine bay looks complete. Got the nice 394 barrel sticker on there. That makes me happy. Now for real, tired of this truck just having issue after issue after issue. Even, you know, I know what you're thinking and I know what you're saying. I know what you're yelling at your screen. Hey, this is all your fault. Well, I know. It is my fault. I caused my own problems, you know? It's a fun trait I have. Can't seem to shake it, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, and basically, I'm gonna fix that freeze plug tomorrow. You know, tomorrow, the day that the customer gets here, Matt, for his truck. Because I don't really want to deal with it right now. I'm not really in the mood, you know? I'd like to do it when I'm fresh and not about to cry myself to sleep, or when I hate myself, or when I think that the world is ending. Yeah, I'll start doing it when it's fresh. So I'll plug away at other things in the meantime and probably just get a bunch of stuff done tonight, and we'll get back on that in just a second. Tomorrow for me. All right, well, it's the next morning, and it's cold and it's windy, and it's actually supposed to rain all next week, so the storm is blowing in, you know? And I got up this morning and went ahead and fixed that freeze plug real fast, and I actually fixed the other one too. Made sure to tighten them up real good so that they don't pop out for a second time. So hopefully they're good, and we're just about ready to put some water and coolant in this thing for the last time. But we got a lot to do before the client comes and picks up this truck. And to be honest, it's real cold, and I don't want to do this right now because the weather is horrible. It's rough out here. It's colder than your wife after you kiss your sister, you know. And the wind ain't helping too. It's blowing our tits off. Rodney already lost his, so we're gonna get to work. Let's put some coolant in this thing and start it back up again. Come on, buddy. Get my step stool set up here. Can't forget our prop rod. You know, I will say, as much fun as it is working on a lifted truck and how cool you look doing it, I will say it's not really meant for us shorter folk. And to be honest, I'm not even that short. I'm 5'10" on a half on a good day. All right, it's got her popped open. Start drinking her up. Now I'm making sure to use distilled water because normally on these rigs that are mine, oh, there's a plastic in our grill. What are you doing there, buddy? That's not helping the airflow. Now normally on these rigs that are mine, just run good old hose water, you know? Cold from the tap. But the fellow who owns this truck is probably gonna transport it out to Tennessee, where right now it gets a little cold. Okay, missed a little bit. Just barely. Just a bit outside. But the fellow that owns this lives in Tennessee. Wow, we're really doing a job on this guy. Lives in Tennessee where it's really cold and it does freeze there, apparently. So we're gonna be nice and use water that doesn't does the thing it's not supposed to, an actual coolant, so that he doesn't blow out those fancy new freeze plugs we just put in. Drink up, little buddy. Because of course the quickest way to drain your cooling system is just blow the core plug straight out of the block. While it's hot too, so that it pressurizes and explodes out. Gets it out real fast. Call that a quick change service. Fastest coolant flush on this side of the Mississippi. All right, this one I don't want to mess up because this stuff ain't cheap. Already missed. Oh. Careful. Well, hang on a second. Oh, because the thermostat's closed. Okay. I'm like, we still got a bunch of coolant in the radiator. Well, no, that doesn't. How much did we lose? It's like at the top already, and I've only put 1.25 gallons. I'm going to check the oil real fast. Almost there. Almost there. Almost there. There it is. We'll get in there. Uh-huh. I'm gonna put some oil in this thing first. Yeah, that's a smart thing to do. Seems a little low. We'll just put that back there. Yeah, let's put some oil in it too. All right, it was definitely a little bit low on oil, but I just realized I don't think we ever checked the oil after the trip, so 250 miles, and it was low. But topped off the coolant, and well, we gotta burp it a little bit, and let's run it. It's definitely got a little bit of a manifold leak somewhere, or maybe the donut on the exhaust is leaking, but runs smooth. Really can't complain. We're gonna run it up to temp and see if it blows out another one. All right, so I went ahead and ran this thing quite a while. Went ahead and burped it. Turns out we lost just over 3 gallons, actually. It was like about 3.5 gallons. Maybe a little bit less, like 3.25. But we lost about 3 gallons when the freeze plug blew out. But I ran this thing, got it up to temp, got it hot, cycled it a few times. It's been a little while now, and it's running cool, it's staying cool. The new dash that we're putting in, I've got to work on because unfortunately some of the gauges are either dying or the needles are misplaced or something like that, because the oil pressure gauge, we know this thing has great oil pressure. It had 60 pounds with a mechanical gauge, and on the old gauge it actually had perfectly fine, and I doubt that it lost any oil pressure. So the oil pressure gauge, it moved, but it didn't go as far as I wanted to, so we're gonna fix it. The good thing is we can actually replace them because the gauges are actually pretty much the same for most gauges from Ford that are that size. You can just swap the internals, put the new face on, bada bing, bada boom, you're done. So that's what we're gonna do in the future, and I'm gonna continue to clean that up more. But in the meantime, I've actually gotta get this thing better running and better driving. So what we're gonna do to do that is, first thing, I have to readjust the rear brakes. This thing if you remember correctly, if you saw the drums, they had quite a bit of lip in them. They were flat, but they needed to be turned because they did have a pretty significant lip. Now, we're not going to fix that right at this moment. What we're going to do is, now that he's driven it, stepped on the brakes have started to bed in a little bit, we're actually going to re-tighten the rear drums because they're barely catching. And you can tell because I actually adjusted the e-brake. When he left, I was able to get it so that he could step on it and it would hold it tight. And now it's not anymore. So now we know that they've bed a little bit and they just need to be tightened up. And unfortunately, the self-adjusters don't seem to be doing that. Don't know why, don't know what's going on. Is what it is. So we're going to adjust them in, and then we get to bleed the brakes. And then the fun stuff, which is the rest of the interior stuff that we didn't finish. Oh, and I have some new news. We were under like a super tight time crunch. Not anymore, because, well, things came up and he realized he couldn't come out today, so we actually get the truck a little bit longer, which is nice because that means I can actually get some stuff done that I wanted to that I otherwise probably wouldn't have, including a Comet wash, which has been the one thing I wanted to do this entire time on this truck. I want to see how nice it is. I want to make it look nice, and to do that, we got to Comet wash it. So we actually get to have this truck for just a little bit more time. And we're going to make it nicest. We're going to make it the nicest we possibly can. So let's get into it. Let's fix those brakes. Now, Rodney here thinks I'm insane for how much I have to go back and forth redoing brakes and suspension and the engine and all this other stuff. But then again, Rodney's a taxidermy deer head. So what does he know? I don't know why I'm going up that high, but I am. Let's adjust these brakes. How wet is this? Kind of wet. All right, now, whew, you're probably thinking, hey, where's your jack stands? And as much as I would love the sweet release of death, this truck's too tall to really drop on me. So what we're gonna do is make sure my head's not under the frame in case it does. And we're gonna adjust these brakes a little bit. Now, because I'm good at what I do, I gotta take these back out because I installed them all. All right. Fun part is, which way do I go? There we go. Now it's starting to drag. That was a lot. That would absolutely be why the brakes are a little squishy. I'm probably going to do them on the tighter side because if I do them tighter, they'll bed in a little bit more because of that lip. And then I won't have to adjust them again. Or so I think. There it is. Now it's starting to drag. That's what I want to see. All right, that's probably pretty good. Now we just got to do the other side. And done. Now I'm going to test out, oh, you're way down here. I'm going to test out the emergency brake now. All right, so we went ahead and re-bled the brakes. I actually did lift up the front end and readjust the adjusters. I actually could hear this adjuster moving on the driver's side when my dad was pressing the brakes. So hopefully it's adjusting the right way, but he says it's got a good pedal feel. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the truck on and see how it feels with the power, and well, just let it get back up temp a little bit. But that would basically mean the brakes are done, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Right now we're working on the gauge cluster, so we'll show you that in a sec. Oh yeah, I also put an extra throttle spring, so it's a little bit tighter. Oh yeah. Brakes are much tighter. Probably stops great now. Well, they feel fine. They stop way before the floor, which is exactly what you want. So hopefully it's got brakes. I actually do have to loosen up the front U-bolts on the passenger side because when I loosened the whole truck, they actually shifted. So the axle is slightly cattywampus. So I just need to loosen it up, pull the axle forward, probably with a come along or something, and just shift it forward about an inch or so, actually less than an inch. But we'll do that, and then this thing's back to running and riding and driving again. So, all right, and it's the next day, and The sun is going down already, but we went ahead and tidied up a bunch of stuff, including the saddle tank. That was a fight to get in there. It was kind of a pain in the butt. We do still have to do the other side, but the other side is only held by 2 bolts, so it's a lot easier to get up and in there, and it's a much smaller tank. But we did go ahead and we got our F600, F500 dash cluster in here. Now it's not finished because we're going to fix the toggle switch here and put something in it, as well as moving some things. But all of the gauges are in here, and they look pretty good, as you can see. And also we obviously have a hole there. Now they all work except for the speedometer currently, and the vacuum gauge is not hooked up, but the speedometer we actually need a cable for. All the other gauges seem to work. The gas sender works, but the one in the tank is blown out. But it's in there. It looks pretty good. It is the white variant, so instead of the black and chrome like my truck, it pops a little bit. It's actually pretty bright. Makes the rest of the truck look pretty dusty and grimy. But now is the time we're actually going to take this thing for the first test drive for real, since putting everything back together. I've already readjusted the brakes a bunch, so hopefully this goes well, and we're going to see if we can do some off-roading. So let's go. All right, so let's get in this big boy. I got to kind of jump in here because I'm short. Now, the fella who owns this truck is about 7 foot, so he doesn't need steps, but I do. This is also a cold start, so let's see how it goes. Started right up. Definitely cold. It's got a choke. Sweet. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, put on the seat belt, pull the e-brake, which need to do spring, but it does work. And let's see where we can go. Okay. Reverse, good. I got oil pressure. It's cold, so there's no temp. The alternator gauge works. All right. I can't see a damn thing. Definitely cold. Need to warm it up a little bit. All right, let's go do some off-roading. Oh crap! I forgot though. This turn radius of this thing is bad. Go. Sorry to these people. The turn radius of this truck is really bad on the right. Oh, I can't see a thing. Oh, there's a lot of dust on that. Oh my god, there's so much dust. Do you see that? Yuck. All right. Pretty good. Third gear. Steering wheel has a little bit of shake to it. It's got no steering stabilizer at all. And the actual column is pretty worn out. The shaft is worn out. So, you know, it's a floater. Nothing unusual. It actually feels pretty good on these tires. Has a little bit of a vibration, which could be the tires. Could be that. Has nice get up and go. Man, I cannot see out this windshield though. I really hope there's no school children crossing the street right now, because I can't see them. Oh, this is bumpy, hold on. Not bad. Took it pretty good. She eats. She eats just fine. Alright, this is our destination. Let's do some off-roading. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Alright, first obstacle, small hill. So, now that we're here, let's say we get these babies locked, because we're going to need them. All right, let's have some fun. and we made it. That's it. This is it. We finally got it running and riding and driving, and it drives great. Idle's pretty good. Fixed the carburetor, tuned it up a little bit, put a little bit of that special sauce on it, and it runs pretty good. Made it out here. It handled the whoops and the do's and the daisies all day long. I was able to go up pretty steep hills and down pretty steep hills. Didn't flood it like crazy, and it ran fine actually. It crawled, which is a big plus. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably undo our manual locking hubs, because I definitely don't want to drive home with those on. But we made it just fine, and it drove just fine, which makes me happy. I know a lot of you were super upset in the past few videos, because why would you run it like that? Why would you just crank it over and start it, and you caused all these issues, and you made it bend a push rod and break a push rod and hurt it? Well, it's fine. Drives great actually. It doesn't make any noise, has great oil pressure. Really can't complain. So the fellow who owns this is going to be pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with it, but we're not done. Now, I know this thing is back to where it was, but there's a small amount of things that I still want to do to it. The biggest being, I want to wash the whole truck and do a combo wash, which is what you're going to see next week. We're going to transform the entire interior and exterior of this truck, make it look nice, make it look good, and really just shine it up overall, you know? Get it to a point where a fella could walk in the parking lot and stare at it 50 feet away and, you know, whatever else Vice Grip Garage said, and just go, huh, it's pretty good. That's what we want to do to this thing. So stay tuned for that, because that'll be next week's video. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this series so far. Thank you for the support. I appreciate every single one of you that watches these videos. It means a lot. So thank you so much for watching. And well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave me a like, comment, subscribe, even if you want to see more content like this, because we've got a new project that is very, very similar to this that will be happening very shortly here. So stay tuned for that. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time on Cherry Picking. See ya.